This is the second limited God debate that I've hosted in like, a month or two. That's mostly because I think that would be kind of like game changing for the problem of evil, even though a lot of theists kind of downplay that. Um, yeah, I think that it really would kind of open up interesting new avenues if suddenly we weren't saying that God was like totally unlimited in power and knowledge and maybe even goodness. There was like this meme on Twitter which surprisingly went viral because a lot of like religious things don't seem to be very popular like in mainstream discourse, but there was like it was referencing, like, the gods in ancient Greece, like a typical polytheist model, and it was it kinda made reference to the fact that Christians and, like, monotheists engage in all these crazy backflips and jump through all these hoops, and then the ancient Greeks were like, "Well, the gods are only so good and only so powerful." And there's just not really, like, a similar problem for them. So, obviously, the finite theists, who are Christians are not gonna go that far, but I still think that it's, like, really interesting. Like, it opens up interesting new avenues.
Yeah, that's probably like what motivates a lot of like leaning more towards limited versions of God anyway. So
Yeah.
um,
Can
yeah.
I make reference really quick to, something that I think might be useful from Josh Rasmussen? He has this analogy where, there's a pitcher, John, a pitcher of some kind of red liquid. Um, and, so that represents all the evil and suffering in the world, and on the table, we have different bowls and cups and jars, and they represent different theodicies or defenses or just explanations of evil in the world, the kind, degree, and distribution of evil we see in the world. And, like we can sort of pour out this red liquid into one of the theodicies and a little bit more into this other, a little more into this other. And I think it's safe to say that like most theodicies can explain like a non-zero amount of evil. Like I don't know of any theodicy that can explain all of the evil in the world, but like all of them I think can explain some non-zero amount of evil. And the idea is they all work together, and is there any red liquid left in the pitcher, and if there is it a lot? Is it a little? And this sort of finite theism model, like it's one of those bowls on the table that no theist wants to use. But to me, it seems like a pretty big bowl. Like it could hold maybe a lot of that red liquid. Um, so I guess the value to the problem of evil mostly comes in setting up a different causal web to begin with, not so much intervening in individual cases of evil. So I guess one of the reasons I like it as sort of a response to the problem of evil is because it's not really like a purely moral response. Like it's sort of more like a logistical response. Like, there doesn't have to be like a purely moral justification for the evil that we see in the world. It can be like like logistical, practical constraints as well. Like God is only so powerful or something. And I feel like that seriously helps the theist's case. That there doesn't have to be a purely moral justification for the things that happen in the world.
Yeah, there's at least one extra category of explanation that the finite theist can offer that the omnitheist can't. And that,
Right. No,
you
that's
know,
right.
Yeah.
finding the principled version of that, I don't know. I can't help with that yet. Give me some time. So I want philosophy of religion to do more with it. So,
Nice.
Yeah, it is weirdly under discussed. Like I
yeah,
don't know. Like it was just I was trying to think like if I were going to debate you or someone who's like, unabashedly like a limited theist or something, it's like, what would the case be? Would it be the same? Like, I'm not sure yet. That's part of why I wanted to have like, why I was interested in doing this again. I mean, partly just because I think it's interesting for its own sake and because it's significantly different from the kind of perfect being, unlimited theism. But also, I'm just like, do I actually have good reasons against like finite theism? Like, do my reasons
right.
transfer over? Like, I'm not totally sure. Like, I need to find out. So, yeah, I need to think
Yeah.
more about it.
That was definitely me. Like as I was getting into philosophy of religion, I was like, all of these arguments, against are like against like omni conceptions, and then like a lot of these arguments for, they're like, oh yeah, we didn't actually show omni properties. So I'm like, like why aren't people talking about finite theism? Everyone's just like, let me stipulate God is like tri-omni or whatever. And I'm like, where's at least Nagasawa is like doing some revisionary stuff that I really like. But yeah, so I was like, man, where's the love for finite theism?